So if you're working as a health, fitness, or a wellness professional, then you're either using a ketogenic diet with your clients or you're hearing about amazing results that people are seeing with a ketogenic diet. You may be even seeing clients come to you that are on a ketogenic diet that are having a whole lot of trouble. Just know that I'm a fan of a ketogenic diet. This isn't one of those videos of, oh, you using that ketogenic diet? Well, your heart just gonna explode. Yeah, it's gonna be a mess. Yeah, that's not what this is. I'm a fan. I use a ketogenic diet personally for part of the year. I use ketogenic diet with some of my clients. I even teach courses on how to benefit from using a ketogenic diet. But just as I know all the benefits that can come from a ketogenic diet, I also understand that ketogenic diets are not right for everybody. Just like any diet or supplement or even food, there are people that are going to benefit from a ketogenic diet, and there are people that a ketogenic diet is going to create more trouble for. So in this video, I'm going to explain 3 different types of clients that should not be using a ketogenic diet, but I'm also going to explain steps that those clients can take so that they can benefit from a ketogenic diet if that's the route that they want to go. Let's jump in.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
Now, just know that you're going to hear the keto guru saying, oh, well, I've been using keto for years and it works great for me, and as long as you do it right, then you're not going to have any trouble. And I was one of those gurus. I thought the same thing. I used a keto diet for over 5 years before I ever run into any trouble. Just understand that any diet has the ability to create imbalances and problems in the long term. Like a high-carb diet, we know that can create insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes and all kinds of cardiovascular issues for some people. But there are people that can use a high-carb diet for a long time and not have any trouble with it. It's all about looking at each client's unique bio-individuality, understanding how their body is operating, and then adjusting a diet so that you're working with their body instead of against it. So the first type of client that I don't want to see using a ketogenic diet is anyone that's dealing with any type of digestive symptoms. So like burping or bloating or constipation or diarrhea or acid reflux or nausea or even skin or acne issues, or maybe their food just kind of sits in their stomach like a rock for like 6 hours. All of those are really strong signs that one part of digestion is not working correctly. So if someone is having digestive malfunctions, they don't have the ability to truly break that food down and pull all the nutrients out of that food. Here's how it works. When we eat food, our stomach should make hydrochloric acid, or HCl. And this stomach acid, as it's called, is meant to help us start to break our food down, especially protein. And then once that food is acidified, it goes into the duodenum, and then our gallbladder squirts this alkaline bile down onto that acidic product that left the stomach, and it creates this sizzle. And it really helps us bust the food apart and pull all the nutrients out of that food. So the problem is that it's really common for someone not to be making enough stomach acid, and they don't have the ability to acidify that food correctly. And it's also really common for someone's bile to become too thick and sticky to flow correctly, and then that alkaline bile doesn't come down and neutralize those acids and help us really bust that food apart. And even more problematic when it comes to a ketogenic diet is that that alkaline bile is like this soapy substance that helps us emulsify or break down our dietary fats. And if dietary fats don't get broken down correctly, they become rancid and toxic, and they just kind of rot and ferment, and they become a burden for the body. So instead of giving your body this fuel and these resources that your body needs, you're giving it a problem that it has to deal with. So let's look at this for a ketogenic diet. If someone doesn't have the ability to break down protein correctly, and their bile is not flowing correctly so they can't emulsify fats, well, carbohydrates are a lot easier to digest when there are digestive malfunctions. A lot of carbohydrates, especially like processed junk carbohydrates, they're practically broken down when they're in the packets. Like a Pop-Tart is not hard to break down. It's just all these chemicals and junk. So when this person can't break down protein and they can't emulsify fats, well, carbohydrates become their only real fuel source. So you put them on a ketogenic diet, you take away their only real fuel source, and now you give their body protein that it can't break down, and you give your body a whole lot of dietary fat that it can't emulsify and it can't utilize. Now this undigested fat and protein just becomes this toxic mess. Even if they're eating like organic, quality, good food, maybe they grew it themselves, they chopped up their own chicken or whatever it was. These can be great ingredients, but if they can't get digested, they just become a toxic mess that becomes a burden that the body has to deal with. Now, the real problem for the client is that you just took away their only fuel source. Now they're tired, they don't have a good emotional state, they're kind of depressed, or they're kind of flipping out and wanting to punch everybody in the face. So these people don't have any fuel, but you're telling them, oh, it's a ketogenic diet. Look at all these success stories. It's going to be great. Just keep doing it. It's just hard to transition, but go ahead, do it anyways. Meanwhile, they're gaining weight. They're having all these rashes because the body's trying to push undigested fats out through the pores in the skin, and they're getting clogged up and creating these skin issues. And the person feels absolutely lousy, and we're like, oh, it's just the keto flu. It'll be fine in a couple of weeks. But the keto flu, think about what happens when you have the flu. All the resources in your body are going towards dealing with this invader, so the person has no energy. They just want to sleep all day and they feel lousy. Well, the keto flu is just the person not having any fuel source. They don't have any energy because they can't break down the foods that they're eating. So digestion is a really big deal when it comes to keto, and especially the ability for bile to flow correctly, because that bile has to help us emulsify all those dietary fats that we're consuming, because those fats need to be processed correctly to turn into ketones. These ketones are going to be this backup fuel source. So if the body can't process these fats, it's not going to be able to go into a good state of ketosis, and the person is not going to have any fuel. So if you don't already understand the signs of poor bile flow or all these digestive malfunctions, my book Health Pro Results will walk you through how to help clients figure out which aspects of digestion are not working correctly and steps they can take to correct those. And the book is available on Amazon, but I'm going to put a link in the description below this video so you can get the whole thing totally for free. And that'll walk you through how to look at that issue with your clients and help them correct any digestive malfunctions so that they can get the benefits from a ketogenic diet. This is why we hear so much good and so much bad about keto, because people are getting great results when they use a ketogenic diet properly, but if somebody doesn't qualify to use it, they're just going to create more problems for themselves, and they're going to be like, oh, this keto diet doesn't work. The reality is they just didn't qualify to benefit from a ketogenic diet. The second type of client that I don't like to see use a ketogenic diet is someone that has low mineral levels. And you can get an idea of how mineral levels are doing in a client's body by just looking at their blood pressure. So just take blood pressure while they're resting, at least 2 hours after a meal, but you don't want to do it fasted first thing in the morning. It should be after a meal. And then if that systolic number, which is the top number, is below 112, well, that's a really strong sign that mineral levels are very low in this system, and they may not have enough minerals in the system to allow the body to function the way that it wants to function. So here's the problem with that when it comes to keto. When we eat keto, we remove carbs for the most part. So that's going to allow insulin to come really low. And that's actually one of the biggest benefits of a ketogenic diet. Insulin can come really low. You remove all that inflammation that can come from high insulin levels all day long that most people create. You also remove these insulin resistance issues. You allow the body, hey, now I can access stored fat and burn that for fuel, so the person loses all kinds of weight. So there's all kinds of benefits that can come from insulin coming down. The problem is, for some folks, when insulin goes really low, it will cause them to pee out more of their minerals. So if a person already has low mineral levels, and now they go on a ketogenic diet and they start peeing out these small amount of minerals that they have, well, they're going to create some real issues for themselves. These issues that we see when people have really low blood pressure and low mineral levels are things like depression, anxiety, major emotional issues, maybe even insomnia, significant cravings that kind of make them feel like they're a crazy person. All these issues can be real problematic. Now, this is not the only cause for things like insomnia and anxiety, but it's one of the more common causes that we see. So if somebody has really low mineral levels, and usually they go really low because they have digestive malfunctions. When they can't digest their food correctly and really bust that food apart and pull all the minerals out of that food, then they're not bringing enough minerals in the system. Did you know that that's why we eat food? To get minerals out of the food that we're eating, along with fuel that the body can use. We need all the nutrients in that food, so if they can't break it down, they can't access it. So when minerals are really low and they go on a ketogenic diet, they're going to see, oh, you're getting the keto flu. Well, yeah, I'm getting the keto flu. I don't have enough minerals for the body to function correctly, and I don't have any fuel. So they're going to have a really hard time with that transition, and they don't have ketones yet because it can take some clients 2, 3, 4 weeks or longer to get into a good state of ketosis. And that's if they have the ability to digest dietary fats correctly. So we don't want to take people that are already having some malfunctions and magnify those malfunctions by putting them on a ketogenic diet. We first want to help them correct any digestive malfunctions, and if mineral levels are low, we want to help them lift those mineral levels so that they have a buffer system there. So that if the body does start to pee out more minerals when insulin goes really low, then they have enough to get by and allow the body to function the way that it wants to function. The third type of client that I don't like to see use a ketogenic diet is someone with a slow breath rate. So you can help a client look at what their breath rate is. Just count their inhales for 60 seconds. Just set a 60-second timer and count the number of times they inhale. Now don't count inhale as 1 and exhale as 2. Just count the inhales. And I actually like to tell my clients, hey, let me check your pulse. And I just want you to lie down and relax and just close your eyes and relax and breathe normally, and I'm going to check your pulse. That way they're not thinking, am I breathing fast? Should I breathe faster? Should I breathe slower? They're not thinking about that, and they'll just breathe in a natural way, and I can get a good breath rate from them. So if that breath rate is lower than 12, that's a really strong indication that the bloodstream is leaning too far on the alkaline side. And when the blood is leaning too alkaline, what's called the Bohr effect kicks in. And the Bohr effect tells us that when the blood is too alkaline, oxygen can't leave the blood and go down to the tissues where it needs to be utilized. So now we're creating oxygen utilization issues, and we're going to create real energy production problems. The body kind of needs oxygen. You've probably heard about that. So what goes on when the blood is leaning too alkaline? The body will slow the rate at which we breathe in an effort to hold on to more CO2. CO2 is acidic and can help balance out the pH of that blood so that oxygen can get down to the tissues where it needs to be so it can be used. So we kind of have the body trying to help us out, but here's the problem when we come to a ketogenic diet. Eating carbohydrates and sugars, a byproduct of processing those carbohydrates, is CO2. So for some folks, eating carbohydrates is what's supplying the CO2 that's helping them balance out their bloodstream. Now that doesn't mean everybody needs to eat carbohydrates. Some people actually have their bloodstream leaning too far on the acidic side. And removing these carbohydrates would really benefit the pH of their bloodstream and other problems that they may be creating due to too acidic of a bloodstream. But the problem is if somebody has a breath rate that's already too low, signifying that blood is leaning too far on that alkaline side, now they're going to remove all their carbohydrates. Well, they're going to reduce the CO2 byproduct that comes from processing carbohydrates. Now the bloodstream is going to lean even more alkaline and create even more oxygen utilization issues. So we like to see somebody correct that imbalance before they start a ketogenic diet. This was the problem with me, but it took 5 years for it to come about where I just pushed my bloodstream too far on that alkaline side, my body couldn't use oxygen correctly, and my energy was completely gone. So it took a long time to create that problem, and now I understand that a lot of people need to kind of look at their body chemistry and know what's going on, and if they start moving in an imbalance that's going to create trouble, they need to cycle out of a ketogenic diet for a period of time or maybe on some days. You know, it can vary from person to person. But it's important not to view a ketogenic diet like it's magic. And just because the ketogenic gurus say that it's perfect and just do it forever, that's going to be right for you and all of your clients. That's just not the case. So to learn how to help clients correct that overly alkaline bloodstream, my book will walk you through that process. And in the appendix, there's a whole section about an alkaline imbalance that helps you understand supplements or foods or steps that you can take to improve that overly alkaline bloodstream so that a person can benefit from a ketogenic diet. But you can see that the main thing to understand is that we really need to look at the bio-individuality of each client and understand how their body is operating and adapt a diet to work with their body instead of against it. And it's up to you to teach them how to do that. And you can learn how to do that in our book, but our Bio-I membership for health professionals also has done-for-you courses where you can just give your clients these courses that teach them how to do that. It also has courses made that you can sell to your clients and you keep all the money. So we'll put the information for the free book that you can get below, but we'll also put a link for more information about our Bio-I membership if you want to check that out. For now, if you have clients that are using a ketogenic diet, you probably also have clients that are using intermittent fasting. So go over now and check out our video on which clients should not be using intermittent fasting. I can't wait to hear about your results.